In a desert empire ruled by oil and ambition, one prince has reshaped his nation while becoming ensnared in a power play that stretches far beyond his borders. Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, commands a trillion-dollar kingdom with a vision sharper than any sword. Yet behind the futuristic facade of neon and glittering G20 appearances lies a haunting question. Is MBS truly in control, or is he cornered by the very alliances he forged? From multi-billion-dollar arms deals to covert data pacts, the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States has morphed into something more sinister, a geopolitical paradox. MBS is hailed as both reformer and autocrat, ally and liability. Inside golden palaces and shadowy intelligence rooms, the prince walks a tightrope wired by Washington's demands and Riyadh's ambitions. This is not just a story of oil and power, it's a slow-burn thriller of modern monarchy wrapped in Western leverage. The Forge of Power. Long before he ruled in all but name, Mohammed bin Salman was watching from the sidelines, listening, calculating, waiting. As the youngest son of King Salman, few imagined he would rise so swiftly. But MBS, with his photogenic glare and unapologetic ruthlessness, did more than climb the ranks. He rebuilt the very architecture of Saudi authority. By 2015, his father crowned him defense minister. Within months, MBS launched Operation Decisive Storm in Yemen, showcasing his appetite for action and chaos alike. Billions of dollars poured into defense contracts with American giants like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. The prince was no longer merely a royal, he became a war strategist, one whose moves echoed beyond the Gulf. But power came at a cost. Internally, he launched an anti-corruption purge in 2017, detaining hundreds of princes and tycoons at the Ritz-Carlton Riyadh. Publicly branded as reform, it was in truth a consolidation. Behind gold-plated doors, family members signed away billions under pressure. In return, MBS emerged unchallenged, a one-man royal machine. Yet this aggressive centralization did not go unnoticed. In Washington, D.C., whispers began. Who was this new prince? Maverick or monster? A reformer with dreams of techno-Islam, or a threat to America's finely tuned balance in the Middle East? The answer was still forming, even as MBS rewrote every chapter of the royal rulebook. Behind palace walls, Mohammed bin Salman refined more than just policy. He reshaped loyalty. Top generals who resisted his commands were retired early, and ministries once ruled by rival branches of the family were merged under his direct control. The Ministry of Interior, long held by the powerful Naif branch, was absorbed into his expanding security grip. He was not just building influence, he was erasing alternatives. In closed-door meetings, MBS introduced biometric loyalty tracking, a futuristic loyalty index that rated high-level royals and technocrats based on their allegiance, behavior, and usefulness to his vision. Loyalty was no longer just about blood, it was now coded, analyzed, and archived. The American embrace. When Mohammed bin Salman first arrived in Washington as Crown Prince, he didn't come with camels and tradition. He came with blueprints, cash, and a playbook. Over a 10-day tour in 2018, MBS visited Silicon Valley, Hollywood, and the Pentagon. The message was clear. Saudi Arabia was open for business and transformation. He met with tech titans like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Tim Cook. He invested over $45 billion into SoftBank's Vision Fund, partnering with major American innovation powerhouses. Overnight, the Desert Kingdom was rebranded as a startup playground. But behind the headlines and polished PR, deeper deals were brokered. Saudi Arabia signed arms agreements with the United States totaling over $110 billion, with promises of up to $350 billion over 10 years. Surveillance tech, drone systems, missile defense. Washington gave the tools, Riyadh gave the oil. What did MBS give up? Influence. With each handshake, he tied his legitimacy to Washington's approval. Intelligence channels between the CIA and Saudi operatives grew more complex. American contractors were embedded in NEOM. The prince's image, once rogue, was now curated for Western consumption, yet every deal deepened dependency. The reforms, the megacities, the new Saudi Arabia, They all leaned heavily on American tech, dollars, and security guarantees. The ally was becoming a client. And even in culture, the embrace tightened. American branding firms scripted Saudi Vision 2030 campaigns. Hollywood consultants were flown in to redesign the kingdom's global narrative. Think tanks published reports portraying MBS as a bold visionary, each paragraph subtly massaged by lobbying dollars. The prince had modernized his image, but outsourced his perception. And as the ties grew thicker, so did the question. Could MBS ever act freely again, or had he become the most watched sovereign in the world? The digital cage. MBS may be the architect of Saudi Arabia's future, but his greatest fortress is also his most dangerous prison: data. As part of his Vision 2030 strategy, MBS embraced surveillance and smart infrastructure as pillars of national progress. From facial recognition in Riyadh's malls to predictive behavior software in NEOM, everything and everyone is under observation. But the backbone of this hyper-surveillance state, American technology. Firms from California and Virginia built the encryption layers, data lakes, and behavioral algorithms now woven into Saudi Arabia's most sensitive systems. This digital dependency means more than security, it means access. American intelligence, whether officially or through proxies, maintains pathways into Saudi servers. Encryption keys, satellite backups, cyber architecture, each connection leaves a doorway. MBS may command the networks, but he cannot control who watches from afar. And there's a deeper irony. In 2018, the murder of Jamal Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul shocked the world. While MBS denied involvement, US intelligence pointed fingers. Yet no sanctions followed. Why? Because buried in the cloud of data, both nations hold secrets on each other. The digital cage isn't just about keeping subjects compliant, it's also a diplomatic vault, a web of leverage, and in that web, MBS is both spider and fly. This surveillance state also extends far beyond Saudi borders. Dissidents living in Canada, the United Kingdom, and even the United States report being tracked and harassed through mobile malware believed to originate from Riyadh's cyber units. Tools like Pegasus, originally developed in Israel, have been integrated into Saudi intelligence arsenals, often through quiet Western intermediaries. And while the prince has created a facade of modernity, entertainment cities, esports arenas, AI campuses, the walls of this digital kingdom whisper something darker. Every app downloaded, every identity scanned, every movement captured, builds a mirror not only for MBS to rule, but for others to watch him back. In this data-drenched empire, surveillance is no longer a tool, it is the battlefield. The shadow transactions. Not all influence is public. In the world of MBS, the real deals happen off-camera, where money, intelligence, and compromise intersect. American lobbyists on Saudi payrolls shape congressional narratives. Defense contractors sponsor counter-terrorism think tanks with favorable views of Riyadh. Billion-dollar donations flow quietly into American universities researching Gulf geopolitics, and in return, silence. When Saudi airstrikes in Yemen triggered global outrage, few in Washington demanded accountability. When human rights reports condemned the mass execution of dissidents, Western allies looked the other way. The economic interdependence had become a silencer. MBS understands this better than any monarch before him. His strategy is not just to build alliances, but to build dependence. Over 100 American companies operate directly under Saudi-backed funds. Real estate in Manhattan, tech in San Francisco, media in Los Angeles, all touched by Riyadh's reach. And yet, the prince is not invulnerable. Every transaction creates a trail. Every trail leads to leverage. As American midterm elections approach, new revelations could emerge. Emails, contracts, security leaks. Washington may protect its investments, but it never forgets its own control. MBS isn't just funding the West. He is feeding a machine that can turn on him without warning. In the shadows of Georgetown and Langley, intelligence briefings circulate with code names and redacted pages. Saudi operatives, American financiers, questionable shell companies. These aren't conspiracy theories. They are quiet truths, protected by layers of mutual benefit. Yet when the political winds shift, those truths become bargaining chips. Saudi sovereign wealth funds have also invested in key American media conglomerates, granting MBS indirect influence over editorial tones and geopolitical framing. When a crisis hits, he can dial a narrative. But so can Washington. The line between ally and hostage blurs more with every signature inked in private. In this economy of secrets, the prince plays many roles: benefactor, buyer, shadow shareholder. But in Washington's game, one role always lingers: the suspect. The Golden Trap. Mohammed bin Salman built a kingdom of mirrors, shining towers, global endorsements, endless capital. But behind the glamour lies a prison lined not with bars, but with obligations. For every weapon he buys, every tech system he installs, every dollar he invests, there's a string. And all those strings point west. The American paradox is this: MBS is too valuable to alienate, too unpredictable to fully trust. He gives Washington leverage over Iran, oil price stability, and military contracts worth hundreds of billions. But he also threatens the image of liberal partnership with authoritarian brutality. For MBS, every move is a negotiation: host a G20 summit, gain immunity; broker a ceasefire, buy silence; arrest a princess, risk exposure. He balances these contradictions like a man walking across a blade. Even his dreams, like Neom, come with traps. The project's surveillance grid was built with Israeli software. Its financial models depend on American credit ratings. Its AI labs are staffed by Western engineers with clearance histories. The prince is a sovereign, but he's never alone. His empire, vast as it may be, is built with invisible ink signed in Washington. And in the shadows, the question remains: is Mohammed bin Salman truly in command of his destiny, or is he the most gilded captive in modern history? His inner circle is shrinking. Trusted advisors rotate with alarming speed. Paranoia leaks from the palace into policy. New loyalty protocols are being tested, even among long-time royal allies. The king-in-waiting is preparing for a throne surrounded not by rivals, but by watchers. Whispers from inside the royal guard suggest changes to the chain of command. Less tribal influence, more biometric governance. In Neom, contractors report security protocols that rival intelligence agencies: facial scanning, drone perimeter monitoring, AI-curated behavior prediction. MBS's world is beautiful, but it is wired. Every deal, every drone, every diplomat he hosts feeds a grid that can isolate or expose him at will. He may be the future, but the price of that future is surveillance. In the high-stakes arena of global power, few figures embody contradiction like Mohammed bin Salman. He is the reformer who jails dissidents, the ally who sponsors proxy wars, the visionary who cannot escape the ghosts of realpolitik. As the desert sun rises over Riyadh's skyline of steel and sand, one truth remains: power has a price. And for MBS, that price is autonomy. He may sit atop a throne backed by oil, surveillance, and wealth, but behind that throne stands a silent consortium of American interests, expectations, and algorithms. The crown is his, but who holds the keys? Would you choose this level of power if it meant never being free? Drop your thoughts in the comments. One reply will win a mystery luxury gift.